Joining us now is Colonel Terry Virts. He is a friend of Hamish Harding, who is on board. And we'd like to start first, Colonel, by just asking how you're doing. What's going through your heart and your mind at this hour?
Well, I'm okay. I want to say that, I'm thinking and concerned about the families and the crew. I've been in communication with the families. And most of all, I'm very thankful for the U.S. Coast Guard, the Canadian Coast Guard, and these commercial vessels. There's a tremendous armada of ships and airplanes and ROVs that are converging on the Titanic. So a lot of thanks to them. I really believe that if they can be rescued, they will, because of this amazing rescue and search and rescue effort that's going on.
That's incredible. And of course, that is the hope. That is the prayer. So can you tell us about Hamish and how he operates under pressure? We know you have a long history.
Yeah. Well, to just tag on some of the guests before, there's a lot of doom and gloom there. The very good news is that we haven't found a wreck. We haven't seen any debris floating up. We haven't heard any explosions or hull crushing sounds. So we haven't heard the bad news, and that's very good news. And so I'll just say that. But Hamish, the way I've been describing him is as the quintessential British explorer. He loves exploring. He's a pilot like me. I met him through an Apollo reunion event a few years ago at NASA. We did a around the world flight, a project called One More Orbit that I made a documentary about. So Hamish is just the kind of person that if he were born several centuries ago, he would have been going to the South Pole, in one of those expeditions, or sailing around the world to discover new lands. He's an explorer and very much a people person, very much what you would think a British explorer is.
Oh, that is wonderful to hear. What do you believe happened to this submersible?
Well, I think it either happened very quickly, which again, we didn't hear that sound and we haven't seen that debris, or they're stuck somehow on the bottom, maybe stuck in mud, maybe entangled in the Titanic, in which case that's good news. They're waiting. The problem is we're in a race against time. So from a scientific point of view, what I've heard, and I'm not an expert, I'm not running the show from the Coast Guard, although we didn't really hear much. There was no new news really in that Coast Guard press conference, which is good news actually at this point. There was no bad news. So I think they're probably stuck at the bottom of the ocean. That's what we're hoping, that they can be found and somehow unentangled. I would think that had they gone to the surface, the vessel has that automatic system. It gets rid of weight and it floats up. Had they done that, I think the airplanes would have found them, or the boats would have found them with radar or visually. So my guess, it's uninformed, and I'm a fighter pilot. I'm not a I'm not a boat captain. But I would guess that they're at the bottom, and it sounds like the hull's intact, I hope.
And we all do. Why did Hamish want to go on this trip? We know you were talking to him beforehand, and obviously he has a spirit of adventure, as you highlighted.
He does have that spirit of exploration. He went to the bottom of the ocean last year in the Marianas Trench. I think he set some records going to the deepest part of the Pacific Ocean. And he just likes to explore. He likes to go to new places, to see new things. The missions that he's been on have had science associated with it. So the Titanic mission that he's on right now is actually mapping the Titanic, and that the Titanic itself has been changing, has been disintegrating. So these missions that they do actually provide a lot of value in tracking the status of the Titanic and also mapping the undersea floor. That's just the kind of thing. A lot of people like to just stay home and watch Netflix at night. That is definitely not Hamish. He would prefer to go climb a mountain or go on a hike or go to the bottom of the ocean.
And I'm sure the entire crew is grateful for his calm demeanor in
Yes.
this circumstance. Colonel Terry Virts, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for covering this. It's an important story. Thanks.
Absolutely. We will stay on it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.